Welcome to another episode. Today we have the lovely Renee Marino. She's a host for Tony Robbins events, the best-selling author, and a Broadway star turned communication expert. And she's currently on a mission to share the power of human communication in a digital age. So, Renee, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Yes, tell us about that journey really, right? Of first of all, I believe you're from Jersey and you had this
Yes.
huge dream of becoming a Broadway star. You reached that, but then you took a huge pivot. How did that all come about? If you can give us kind of the succinct version of it.
I would love to. It was 2019, and I was doing my most recent Broadway show, which was Pretty Woman the Musical. I saw a need for help in the area of communication,
Mm,
and I had always wanted to write a book. I always wrote personalized children's books for my nieces and my
yes.
nephews, but my one of my biggest dreams was to really have a traditionally published book. And
Mm,
I knew at this time that I wanted the book to be about communication, but as you and I know, communication is so broad. So I said, well, what part of communication? And then I
mm,
happened to be at a restaurant with a friend of mine, and we're
mm,
catching up, we're chatting it up. And next to us, it's a family of five parents, a teenage son, and two young kids under the age of 6. And Louis, I am telling you, for 2 hours, no one spoke. They all had their heads down in a digital device, the parents and the teenager on a cell phone, and the children on a video game app. And my heart broke because I grew up Italian American. You could always find us sitting around the kitchen table, always eating,
yes.
talking, sometimes arguing, but
Yeah.
nonetheless communicating and connecting. And my heart just broke because
Mm,
I said, wow, they're missing out on these beautiful moments of connection to be tied to their screens. And that's when the light bulb went off. And I said, this is what I need to write my book about. So I was writing the book as I was performing on Broadway. And then when that show closed in August of 2019,
oh
my
wow.
gut, my gut was like, Renee, you're ready to activate your other gifts of writing. Maybe you want to start your own business. I didn't know what that meant. Maybe you want to start coaching. I didn't know exactly what that meant, but I just knew that I was ready to get this book published out into the world.
Mm,
And that's when I decided to take a course from Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi. And I would take the course every day for 6 weeks. And about a month into it, the world shut down because it was COVID. So
yes.
talk about divine timing. I wouldn't have been able to perform even if I wanted to.
Mm,
And that's when I started to really immerse myself in being an entrepreneur. I got my first book publishing deal from an amazing company, Morgan James Publishing, and it took off from there.
wow, that's beautiful. For entrepreneurs, coaches who are in a situation where they have that instinct, right? That gut feeling, but then let's be honest, they're scared, they're doubtful, they're asking themselves, am I good enough? Am I ready? What did you tell yourself? But also, what would you recommend these individuals so that they can break through?
For everyone listening who feels that way, know that you are not alone. Every single thing that I've done and continue to do in my life that is the next level. That is something I've never done before. There are always nerves attached to it. There's always fear because that's a part of the human experience. And if you can start to flip the script in your mind, and when that fear shows up, instead of thinking, oh, that means stop and run away, train yourself to say, whoo, yes, baby, this means I'm leveling up. I'm going to go toward it.
Mm,
Because if I really think if something's worth it, there's going to be fear, there's going to be doubt, there's going to be a little confusion, maybe. But if you just remember that outside of your comfort zone is where the beauty of life resides, you're going to be good and you're going to figure it out. And that's one of the greatest things I teach, which is the power of imperfect action.
yeah.
Taking action, even when you're afraid, even when you don't know what the next three steps are, even when you've never done it before. That's how I
Mm,
built my own business. That's how I changed chapters of what I was doing as a professional actress and performer. Imperfect action. I do it imperfectly, my friend. And by doing that, what happens is that's what helps you to develop those little nuggets of self-confidence. Because, for example, Say you want to start showing up on video, but you're like, oh, I hate the way I look. I don't know how to speak. I get too nervous. But right, I have a course called Connecting on Camera. So I deal with a lot of this from my clients.
Yes.
When you press record, even when you're nervous, even when your heart's beating out of your chest, even if you go off on some tangents, even if you do that first video, you press stop, you will have that little sense of satisfaction that says, all right, Renee, it wasn't great, but you know what? You did it. Good job. And the
Mm,
more you do that, you develop these little nuggets of self-confidence that start to build on each other, and that turns into an armor of self-belief and self-confidence.
hmm.
So the myth I believe out there in the world is
Yeah,
that confidence comes first, action comes second, but in actuality, it's imperfect action comes first, and from there, confidence is developed.
I love that. And so let's say an individual is in that path, they're posting, but then, and I think, you've experienced this where life punches us in the face and things happen and right. So then they're in this spot where they can easily say, yeah, I'm doing it, but it's not working. I don't know, like maybe I should give up. So the doubt comes in. What do you recommend for that individual who's already started?
Mm. Oh, I'm sure you would consider him one of your greatest inspirations as well as mine, Mr. Tony Robbins.
Yes.
He talks so much about one of my favorite quotes of his, life is happening for you and not to you.
Yeah.
And once I started to not just listen to that, but hear it and embody it, everything changed because then everything that I went through
Mm,
was for me. I mean, back in 2020, I have to tell you, it was one of the hardest points of my life. At the end of 2019, December of 19, I lost my father to cancer. He was my best friend in the world. 3 days later, we found out we miscarried. From
mm,
there, I had a series of health issues from the miscarriage, had to get a series of procedures, had to get a heart ablation.
oh my
I
goodness.
mean, it was so much. Again, in the heart of COVID, just
Yeah.
started my own business. It was like God was like, okay, I'm just going to shake the rug under your feet and you're going to be flying all over the place
Oh
and
my
figure it
goodness.
out.
Mm,
So when I say this, I just want you to know that I'm saying this from experience. This isn't like, hey, just be
right.
happy. No, that's not real. You have to feel your feelings. You have to go with the ups and downs of life and understand that sometimes what feels like it's taking you off the beaten path is in actuality taking you down the path that you needed to go, but you wouldn't have gone down unless you went through these other things. So just understand that it's a part of the human existence. And when you can ask yourself better questions, what is this teaching me? What
Mm,
can I learn from this? How can I grow from this? Instead of the question that we often ask, why me?
yeah.
Why now? What's wrong with me? Those are the
Mm,
very human, common questions that we're used to asking. But when we ask ourselves better questions, we get better answers.
absolutely. So through that journey, you've been a performer, right? You've been someone who yeah, I would say maybe is competitive and you go for it, you find a way, you make a way. But ultimately, who did you need to become
Mm.
to break through even further, right? Especially on the maybe on the health or the, spiritual side or the family side as you went through like some of those situations. Who did you need to become?
Most of my life, and do you pronounce it Luis or Louis?
Either way
Luis?
works. Luis is
Okay.
usually the way.
Luis.
Yeah.
Luis. Um, my entire life, especially growing up as a performer, I was always type A,
Yes, yes,
perfectionist.
yes.
The only way I knew to treat myself to get better, right? Especially as a dancer, I mean, being in a
Yeah.
crazy competitive field, which for me, it was never about competition with anyone else, but only with myself.
Mm,
That caused a lot of stress within me. And I was of the belief that there was only one way to get better, and it was to beat myself up. and
Oh,
roar, drive forward. And if something went wrong, my old primary question was, what is wrong with me? Renee, what is wrong with you? Why can't you do this better? Renee, what is wrong with you? So I lived so many years of my life thinking that was the only way to go about life. Beat
yeah,
yourself up, right? Um, beat yourself into submission. Come on.
yeah,
And not until everything I went through did I realize, Renee, you have to learn to truly love yourself and give yourself the same grace you give everybody else. I'm the best, Luis, I'm the best person for everybody else. I'm the one that people call when they need to feel better, when they need to vent, when they need to be reminded of how beautiful and powerful they are. But
mm,
let me tell you, I was anything but that to myself. And I
mm,
realized through all of that pain and the hardship I went through that the only way to get through it was to do it with some grace and self-love because I was at a point where that beating up of myself, it didn't work anymore.
yeah,
So like even when I tried to do it, did not have the energy. I didn't have the mental, the emotional capacity to do it. And I was like, "Oh my goodness." And at first it was very jarring because if I had a day where I was really grieving and I couldn't do work and I just needed to be with myself.
yeah,
It was
mm,
weird for me at first because I was so used to pushing through.
yeah.
But once I started to understand, Renee, you have to honor yourself. Like you're human. You are a human being.
But how did
It
that like? Because that's a massive shift. How like was it literally spontaneously? You're like,
No, it was not spontaneous. No,
oh,
Luis, it was, let me
yes,
tell you, years. And we're all
oh,
still works in
yeah.
progress, right? But I'll tell you from like 2020 to like 2024, 25,
Oh wow, yeah,
it really was this kind of this dance between who I was and who I
right,
was needing to become. And it's scary. So, for anyone listening, I want you to understand it
yeah,
can feel really scary becoming
yes,
that next version of yourself because we're habitual creatures. We're attached to what we know, whether it's good or bad, right?
mm,
We're attached to that. So for me, there were so many moments that were so scary because I was like, oh no,
yeah,
this means that I'm not going to be as successful as I once was. If I'm not always in the grind, pushing, fighting, I'm
yeah,
not going to be able to accomplish all the things I want to accomplish. And then the inner part of me, my inner gut, my inner compass,
yeah,
quiet voice of my soul was like, no, Renee, you're
mm,
just learning that a lot of what that was conditioning of
yeah,
what you believed to be true, but that's not the truth, girl. And this is all
yeah,
great for you because it is breaking you open right now and it's uncomfortable and it feels like crap and you don't know where it's going, but keep trusting. And when I'm about this image, because it was always one of my favorite quotes, the caterpillar thought its life was over until it became a butterfly. And
yes,
it's that feeling of
wow,
discomfort, right? You're like, oh, I don't know what this is. I don't know who this new Renee is. I don't know what it is to accomplish something while being in flow. I got to be stressed and I got to be like rah, 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 working hard. And no, now it's so funny, Luis. Like when I try to do that, I'm like, ooh, that doesn't feel good. If it doesn't feel good and I'm not in a place of joy, I'm not going to be able
yeah,
to accomplish anything.
yes. So then, how important is it for us to let go and surrender?
Ugh. It's so important. And Luis, I got to tell you, because I'm nothing but honest and transparent here, that idea of let go,
Right,
surrender. If
right,
any
right,
of you out there are like
yeah,
me, and I like to say I'm a
hmm,
reformed perfectionist now,
right,
but if
right,
any of you out there
yeah,
were like me and you're
yeah,
like, oh, let go, huh? I was like, what the heck does that mean? Letting go, like I would be like, well, how do you do that? How do you
mm,
do it? Because if you tell me, Renee, I need you to learn how to run 5 miles. Renee, I need you to learn how to speak better. Those are action things that I can do, right? I can put the work into it. But letting go and surrendering is quite the opposite.
oh yeah,
It's letting go. So for me, it was always such a foreign concept. Oh my goodness, Luis, it's so funny because like that's a phrase I would always use,
yeah,
not because I knew how to do it, but because I was trying to teach myself. And not
mm,
until I would say I went through all of these deeply painful. emotional experiences was I able to do it. And now it is this, I do know how to let go.
Hmm.
What the minute I find myself in any sort of anxiety, overwhelm, I have that self-awareness to catch it and be like, okay, Renee, is this going to serve you? No. It's all good. And I sit back, even if it's work, right? And I'm having a particularly hard day. The emails aren't sending. This is happening.
Yeah.
That's happening. And I'm trying to fight through it. Instead, it's like all of a sudden an alarm goes off in my brain. And I'm like, oh, kick back. Let it work itself out. Like, breathe,
Mm.
girl. Go have a nice meal. Make someone, get on a phone call with someone who's going to make you laugh. And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, I'm in a different energy. And through that different energy, I'm allowed to let go and let it flow.
I love that. There's a saying I kind of came up with is like, get into a state to create. And it sounds
Mm.
like that's what you do or
Yes.
did. It's like
Yes.
you pause and then what is the self-talk? What is the new standard?
Yes. The new standard is it's all good. See, when I was in the perfectionist years and
Yeah.
the beating myself up, I thought I had to figure everything out from up here.
Mm.
Figure it out what,
Yeah.
and then I'd go into decision fatigue and I'd be so anxious because I'm trying to figure everything out. But once I realized that my body is telling me what feels good and what doesn't,
Mm.
it changed everything. And once I started to understand I don't have to figure everything out at every moment of every
Right.
day. Like sometimes just
Right.
letting it be, like, all right, I don't have this answer right now. It sucks. I'm frustrated, but you know what? I know one thing. When I'm happy and I'm laughing and I'm enjoy, that is the most healthy thing for my body. And that's
Mm.
when I allow my mind to calm down so then the answers can come through.
There we
So
go.
that's the self-talk is just being like, okay, it's all good. You don't have it figured out now, but you will find a way.
Yeah. And also not to confuse the viewers or the listeners, it also isn't like, hey, like let's just give up or let's say
No,
oh well I didn't figure it out. Let me go take a nap and just scroll for fucking 2 hours. Like
no.
so then what also then do you do to or maybe not do, but who are you in the moment where you let go so that you could keep building momentum at the end of the day?
That's a great distinction, Luis. And for those of you listening, I do want to make that clear
Yeah.
because what we're talking about here isn't giving up and being like, I'm gonna go eat McDonald's and treat my body like crap and go scroll for 12 hours.
Yeah.
The letting go means having true trust and
Mm.
saying, the answer can only come when I'm in a space to receive it. And because of all I went through, right? And because I believe God forced me through my experiences to be okay with not feeling okay, right? I mean, there were
Mm.
days I was so down, I was so in grief, I was so in confusion that
Yeah.
God was like, girl, you can't force anything. You can't make yourself do anything. You need to sit back. I was almost forced into it, which was the greatest blessing because now I understand that
Yeah.
again, that idea of letting go is one of the greatest ways that then we can slow down to speed up.
Mm. There we go.
Slow down to speed up. And when I say take a step back, I mean serve and nurture yourself in the ways that are really healthy.
Mm.
Meditation, prayer, working out, going for a walk, laughter, right? These chemicals that are released in our body, oxytocin, go hug somebody. I'm a hugger, I'm Italian, right? What we I hug, I kiss. Like I go hang with my husband and I cuddle with him or I hug my mom. I feel what I'm feeling. So I want to make this clear.
Yeah.
When I'm in the state of frustration, because heck yes, I still get frustrated, I still get angry, I still have
Yeah.
moments where I want to go to that self battle. But what I allow myself to do is give myself a few minutes, scream if I have to, cry, get
Mm.
angry, and then I
Mm.
move on. I don't sit in it. And I used to sit in it because I think I
Understood.
had this belief that the longer I sit in it, the more I punish myself, That's how I'm going to teach myself. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
how, right?
That's so
Like
interesting. Yeah,
I'm not going to use that word, but like how backwards is that? So I hope that if there's one person or a million listening that feel this way, I hope that this can be a sign for you
yeah.
that there's another way and you deserve to treat yourself with the same love and grace that hopefully you treat others.
Absolutely. And then that's the pattern, right? The grace, the faith, the trust. So as you continue to build, because you're constantly, doing new things, you're getting like the book and all these great things. How important is now faith as you continue to let go, continue to learn, but also maybe have more of that trust?
It's everything. Louise, I could cry like just even answering this. Like
Mm,
faith is everything to me. I mean, I just this
yeah,
year, oh God, faith. And if it can
yeah,
feel like such a challenging thing, right?
yes.
How do I
Mm,
believe in the unseen? Well, if it's not unseen, then it's not belief.
I love
And it is such a challenging concept for the human mind to grasp. Trust me, I get it. I've had my battles with it, but
yeah.
it's almost like the more you lean into it, the more that faith grows, and then the more evidence of it you see.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
like this beautiful circle, right? The more you say, I'm
Yeah.
going to trust, even though I don't know how the heck this thing's going to happen, I'm going to believe, even though I don't know what the heck I'm believing, but I'm going to do it. The more you do it, you're going to start to see evidence and signs, right? Because it's like
Mm,
Tony talks to keep referring to Tony,
yeah.
RPM, I'm sorry, RAS, your reticular activating system, that part of your brain that when you're looking for something, your brain finds it. If you're
Yeah.
looking for that red car, all of a sudden you're like, I saw 57 red cars today.
Yeah.
If you're looking for evidence of faith, your RAS is going to find it. And it's
Mm-hmm.
beautiful. And I now am able to find that faith even in those tough moments. And trust me, I've had them myself. In the past few weeks, I've had some tough moments. But I have to remind myself, Renee, be the change, girl. Like, you can't be preaching this faith stuff if you're not practicing it yourself.
Yes, absolutely. A big piece of that too is self-acceptance because Tony, right, talks about I believe, for example, that my old self believed that, oh, I shouldn't have problems. Like I'm beyond that. Like I've done the work and I shouldn't have to be dealing with this, right? So for you, what is that new identity as you keep growing and evolving and maybe tying into for those who want to become better communicators and establish more genuine connections? Who do you invite them to become as well?
So good, Louise. High five. Great. I love that. It is, wow. It is just it's such a beautiful journey, life.
Yeah,
And self-acceptance was something that, again, was so foreign to me. You guys, I was a dancer since 5 years old. I was in the entertainment field where you're constantly being told, you're not good enough. Renee, you look too Italian. Your nose looks like this. You need to be
mm,
more ethnic. You need to lose weight. You need to gain. I mean, it feels so personal, right? So
yeah,
self-acceptance feels like impossible
yeah.
because you're always like, oh, I need to be
Mm,
more this, less of this, that. So for me, I finally learned that
mm,
number one thing that I was doing that was so detrimental that I was like, I gotta stop this. And it was just conditioning, the
yeah.
self-comparison. Like, oh my God, whatever it was. Like, why can't I be a professional
Wow.
soccer player? Renee, who cares? You don't even like soccer. Like, like,
Yeah,
but
that's
like this little part of me that was like, Renee, you're supposed to be able to do everything. Renee,
mm,
you're like, I don't know where that comes from. And I know that those of you listening, I know I'm not alone in this. I
yeah.
see it all the time, this belief that we're supposed to know all things and be great at everything. No. And once I started to have step one of what I call my connect method is communication with self. Communication with self. getting so in tune with yourself through journaling. I am a big proponent of writing. Research shows when we write, we activate more parts of the brain. And when you write, first thing in the morning, leave that damn phone on the nightstand, stop scrolling, stop checking emails, and just ask yourself one question: how am I feeling? And then just allow yourself to write whatever comes through. What you'll start to see is you start to get in such connection with yourself. You get acquainted to who you are. You start to put highlights on what you do that's amazing. What you do that others wish they could do. What your zone of genius is. And now I love this idea because I do everything I can to stay in my zone of genius
Yeah.
as often as I can. Because I
Mm.
believe the purpose of my life, Luis, is to activate and utilize every gift that God gave me. Because in my idea, if it's not meant to be used, why did God give it to me?
Yes.
And that's why in 2019, when that inner part of me was like, Renee, you're ready for a new chapter. I was like, you know what? I know I'm a great writer. I love speaking. Maybe I'm going to start to pursue that now.
Yeah.
Like the purpose, I believe, of your life is to activate and use all of your God-given gifts. So once I learned that I have a specific set of gifts that God gave me, I focused on those
Yeah.
instead of focusing on all the things that I should be doing. In my
Right.
book, I say I should this, we should all over ourselves.
Yeah.
And I truly took that word out of my vocabulary. I very rarely use that word should anymore because it was the bane of my existence.
Yeah.
And I would love for you guys and you, Luis, when you have time, check out my TEDx talk
Yeah. Yeah.
because I wrote a poem called Self Acceptance, and it ties so beautifully to what you just asked me.
Wow.
And I think it'll be really inspiring for you to listen to. And the title of my TED Talk is Happiness is Not Where You're Looking. So
Mm.
check that out because I think it'll give you some perspective on my
Yeah.
journey.
Yeah, I love that. And also, it's probably safe to assume that the more you step into that self-acceptance and surrendering and letting go, you do get into a flow where now you start to attract more opportunities to get into your zone of genius. So the reason I bring
Yes.
that up is how did you then get connected to host like, World Summit and UPW recently? How was that? How did you attract that?
Such a beautiful, I mean, experience. So 2020, as I shared, I took this course from Tony and Dean,
Yeah.
and I'm just going to preface everything for those listening. This is what I call the power of showing up. I
Mm,
believe that the greatest gift we can give to ourselves and to our lives is
yeah.
showing up. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, just show up fully, right? With your heart, your soul. Show up. That's what I do on a daily basis, Luis. And it was
Mm,
COVID. I was dealing with thyroid issues. I was getting an extra heartbeat. I was in the midst of writing a book. Like this is why I love sharing this because everyone, especially in this social media culture, everyone thinks everyone else has it together and it's just me. I'm the only one
yes.
going through struggles.
Right.
Nope, you're not. And I could probably bet that so many people in 2020, when they're seeing me write my book and get my book out there, they're like, "Oh my God, Renee is perfect. She's always happy." They
Right.
had no idea what I was going through. The pain,
Mm,
feeling depressed some days because I just lost my father, who was like my grounding force, the world being
mm,
crazy. Um, all of a sudden stepping into a whole new life. It was a lot.
mm,
Um, but what I did, I showed up. Even
mm.
in the midst of my pain, Luis, even in the midst of my confusion, in the midst of my darkest days, I showed up. And because it was COVID, Dean and Tony, it was their first time doing what they called these challenges, these free summits, but they
Yes.
called them challenges back then. And the first one Dean did was called the Start Over Challenge.
Right.
100,000 people signed up, free. All you would do is you would be a part of their free Facebook group. Every day, Dean would go live, teach about something, and then your homework was to go live on video
Yeah.
and talk about
It's so
whatever the
different.
material was for that day, right?
Yeah.
So the first day, I love this story. I go
Good.
live and I'm like, "Hi guys, Renee Marino here." Whatever we were talking about, limiting beliefs. Luis, I was like a hot mess. I think I was like just done working out. My hair's like this. I'm like all over with the camera. I'm like, "Hey guys." Like, and
Yeah.
I was just myself.
Right.
Well, after I shared the video, I got a slew of messages from the people in the group being like, "Oh my God, that was so amazing. Can you show me how to do that?" And I remember being like, "What the heck are they talking about? What did I do? I didn't do anything. Like, I was a hot mess."
That's funny.
This would go on day after day. It was only a week. And after the first couple days, I realized, oh, they want to know how I'm getting on video and just being myself. So, like a light bulb went off. I said, you know
Mm.
what? I should create a course around this. So I just showed up. Luis showed up on video every day. I get tons of comments. And at the end of that week, Dean's team reaches out to me and says, Dean would love to interview you live in front of the group. He had seen my videos and he interviews me. I share my story. And then he's like, I'd love for you to be on my podcast. So I was like, oh my God, amazing.
That's good.
A month later, Tony has his first challenge, 300,000 people in the group. This was called the Comeback Challenge.
Mm.
Same thing would happen, Luis. I'd go on video every day, tons of messages. And what I shared, which is very honest and true,
Yeah.
Tony Robbins has these incantations, right? Every day in every way, I'm getting stronger and stronger. And I shared with the group, I said, you know, guys, I sing his incantations because I'm a singer. So for me,
Ah,
I'll be on the
yeah.
treadmill and
Yeah.
I'll be like, every day in every way, I am getting stronger. And I would sing them. So by the end of the
So
week,
good.
everybody would get on these videos. They'd be singing incantations. Like it was just so
Yes.
much
I was
fun.
one of them. I shared it with my wife, with my son,
Yes,
and
yes.
I was one of them. Yeah.
So I was just being myself. And then at the end of that, his speaker, his national speaker announced at the end of the whole week, one person delivered value to the whole group. Renee Marino, you just won 5 days to Tony Robbins' private resort in Fiji. And
Oh
I was like,
my
what?
goodness. Right.
So that was like the first introduction, right? We're again only through video. So I want you to
Mm.
understand this lesson here for those listening. That was me just showing up on video. So
Yeah.
this is what's possible when you just press record and you share.
Yeah.
So that was 2020. 4 years go by, I'm doing my own thing, my business. I get a message from Dean and and his team, and Dean was launching a new course, and he wanted to use three people as testimonials who have gone through his programs, and he wanted to use me as one of them,
Mm.
which was like such an honor. So I he interviewed me live. I flew out to Mastermind his studios, and that's
Yeah.
how Dean and I reconnected. And then, like the end of 2024, he said, Listen, there may be an opportunity for you here. We're looking for a host for his Tony's Summit. And I hosted that first summit, and now I get to work with the greatest team in the world.
I know. I love that so much. You didn't use this word, but I think it's gonna resonate. It's the idea of authenticity, putting yourself out there, showing up authentically. However, right, for the viewers, like someone can easily say, "Oh, easy for Luis or Renee, like easy for you guys to say, like you're it's easy for you to get on camera. It's easy for you to do this." And what should we all remember about authenticity?
Oh, authenticity is for me priority. Priority.
Mm,
And what authenticity means in step two of what is my 7 step connect method is the O. It's an acronym, connect. The
okay.
O is own who you are. And what that means is be aware of, accept, and share not just your strengths, those things you're proud of. Oh, I'm Renee. I was
Yes.
on Broadway. I did film. I did this, me, but also sharing those vulnerabilities, what
Mm,
I call those areas of opportunity for growth. Because when we share the parts of ourselves we want to hide the most, those are the parts that connect us with others the most.
mm,
And when we share from there, Luis, that's where the magic happens because that's what helps, just like I shared today. going through all the trauma I went through,
Yeah.
all the loss, all the change. I hopefully can help one person or many people to see four of the most
Mm.
powerful words the human spirit can hear and understand. You are not alone. You're not alone in your struggles. And you may look at me and say, oh, but Renee's a speaker and she's done this and
Yeah.
that. Oh, she doesn't go through this. Yes, I do.
Yeah.
And that's what authenticity is. Being who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, and owning that. Because that's what makes a person complete,
Yeah.
right? None of us are just all one way all day long. Like Imagine saying, I'm
I,
like this all the time. I never
that's so
cry. I never
funny.
get upset. Like, no,
Yeah.
that's not real. It's not real. And I want
Mm.
to also share this. Yes, maybe getting on video is easier for me than someone else. Well, you know what's not easy for me? Freaking business.
Mm.
Let me tell you something. I lived a life fully creative, being a dancer, 8 shows a week on Broadway. I didn't know nothing about business. Like I was never in corporate, I was never in any sort of business capacity in that way, right? So when I became a entrepreneur, you want to talk about a baby taking their first steps?
Yeah.
I'll never forget hearing the phrase, "Oh, you need to build a funnel."
Mm.
Luis, I
Mm.
go, a funnel? Like, what do you mean, like a beer funnel? Like, what's a funnel? Like, so I just share that with you to let you know I know what it feels like to be at level one or level zero. But that's again to
Yes.
go back to what we started with, imperfect action. Do it
Yes.
imperfectly, baby. And let me tell you what you're going to do for yourself. When you take those imperfect action steps, instead of what most people do, they wait until they feel ready. They sit on the sidelines. They're like, "Yeah, I'm going to start that podcast when I have more followers. I'm going to do this when I." Guess what happens? You keep saying someday, someday becomes no day, and it's 5 years down the road, and you're like, damn it. Why did I start it 5 years ago? Now
Yeah.
I'm 5 years older. Now I have three more kids. Now I have this.
Yeah.
There's always gonna be a reason not to do it. So if you are listening right now and you're waiting to start, trust me, start now imperfectly.
Absolutely. Because then that builds momentum, right? That builds even tr more trust,
Yes,
more evidence, right?
yes,
So maybe even continuing your method, like what else should we know to I
yes.
think that's a big piece. Being okay with imperfect action. Because we
Mm.
get it, like, yeah, just do it messy. But then internally, like for me, it's like, but I don't want to be seen as messy. I don't want to be seen as I don't have it figured out. So maybe what are some other things that we can all do to connect genuinely and put ourselves out there, really?
Surround yourself with the right community of people. I cannot stress
Yeah.
the importance of community. Louise, I would hallucinate to say that we all have people in our lives, especially family and friends, right? Like,
Yeah.
especially if you're anything like me, I'm very close to my family. I love my
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
but I'm also like, the weirdo in my family. I'm the
Yeah.
one who like
Right.
went away and followed my dream and I didn't follow the traditional path. I was
Right.
on tour, I was on Broadway, I did film, I was in Hollywood. Like, I did the things that are not the norm, I would say. So now doing what I do, I mean, sometimes I think people don't even know what I do. They're like, you speak and you work with Tony Robbins. Like, what are his events? What do you, like people don't
Yeah.
get it, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
But with that said, it's so important to be around those people like you and I who get it, who are there to nurture your dreams instead of drain your battery, who are there to hold up a mirror for you when you don't know what the heck you're doing, that you could be like, Renee, can I just talk to you for a minute? I want to do this video, but like I just need some guidance. I want to press record, but I'm feeling some imposter syndrome. And you call upon those people who are going to help you take the imperfect action. Because the truth is, as much as we want to pretend, none of us do it alone. None of us. And that's why coaches have coaches and those coaches have coaches, right? Because we can only see as far as ourselves.
Yes.
And majority of the time, we're the hardest critic on ourselves. We treat
Yeah.
ourselves the most harshly. So being around the right people who nurture you, who are like, Luis, you freaking got this, man. Like, you are amazing. Do you know what your gifts are? And they hold up that mirror for you. That is the key. That's the secret sauce.
Yes. Another big thing too is when we do these things, post, record, connect, what's really helped me, and I want to hear your take on it, is remembering like, wait a second, this isn't even about me. Like this post is for something else, Luis. Like, yes, you feel uncomfortable, yes, all this, but then like there's a big why. So then for you, what is your big why as you continue to, expand and keep pushing the limits and getting out there? What's the big why?
Yes. My big why is to get people back to that authentic human connection because no matter how advanced AI gets,
Yeah, yeah,
the one thing it can never replace is human connection.
yeah.
And I believe this is more
Yes.
crucial than ever because let me tell you, as tech gets more and more advanced, people are losing themselves. I mean, I can't tell you how many people I come across who don't know how to make eye contact, who don't know how to make small talk. And I'll tell you this, and this is what I speak about as a keynote speaker. You can have all the systems, the tools, the processes. You could be the smartest in the room, the most beautiful. If you don't know how to connect with people in a
Yes.
real way, none of that
Yeah.
matters.
Yeah.
None of that matters. And I believe that that is my
Yeah.
mission. I mean, it's crazy. My book, Becoming a Master Communicator, you see back there.
Yeah.
The subtitle is Balancing New School Technology with Old School Simplicity. And
Mm.
my whole mission is to bring these worlds together because technology isn't going
Yeah.
anywhere and it's a
No.
gift, right? We shouldn't ignore it. But we also can't ignore that old school way of
Yes.
connection because the at the end of the day, the quote, I know I'm using a lot of quotes, but I love
Mm.
quotes.
Yeah.
The quote that I would say represents what I do and why I do it is Maya Angelou's quote. People will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget the way you made them feel. And I just always, Luis, I want to leave people happier than when they
Yeah.
started. I want to be that light for people to hold up and be like, Luis, look at how incredible you are. Like,
Mm.
you are such an incredible interviewer, by the way. Like, you're connected as we're speaking. You have such a kind soul. You have such like a smiling face that makes your guests feel comfortable.
Mm.
I want to be that person that holds up the reflection for someone else.
Yes, I love that. So then as you, and thank you for that, by the way.
You're welcome.
As you
Eat
as
it.
you look at, yeah, thank you. As you look ahead to 2026, how can people connect with you, or what are some things that you're working on so that they can get more of your magic?
Yes, please. Well, definitely come and follow me on Instagram at I am Renee Marino. And I'm really pushing the content there
Mm.
because I feel it. My gut's like we're
Yes.
in a place where people are receiving this information about the importance of prioritizing human connection
Yeah.
in this world of technology, in this world of AI. So definitely follow me at I am Renee Marino and send me a DM. I answer everything myself because I love to know if you've listened to this podcast and you have a really great takeaway. Come find me there, and I'm always sharing what I'm up to, what I'm doing. But yeah, baby, it's about changing the world, bringing
Yes.
people back to that authentic connection. And I'm just going to be getting on more stages, working alongside Tony Robbins, which is one of the
Oh,
greatest
yes.
gifts and honors for
Yeah.
me.
That's awesome.
I learn and continue to learn so much from him, and yeah, just to see people. To put it so simply, I want to help people feel seen and heard and understood.
Mm. Yeah, and I was about to wrap up, and now in maybe just a couple of minutes. But so when I met Tony at in Vegas, the KBB thing, there was this whole event. One thing that I noticed is that he's incredibly present, right?
Oh,
Like
the best.
he's like there, like he's just fully there. Because I believe you've been to like his home and his studio and all these things, obviously, right? Like what are some other traits that you notice in like the best, not even just communicators, but just the best humans, right? Like what are some of the top traits you notice in maybe like a Tony Robbins when you've met him?
Listening. So, in my Connect method, step 6 is complete listening, listening to hear and not just to respond.
Uh,
Luis, I cannot tell you how many people today do not listen. They're
Mm.
waiting for you to finish so they could talk about themselves. They're waiting for you to talk so then they can give you the information they need to give you. That is not listening. And
Mm.
Tony, I mean, man, I just I
Yeah.
could cry thinking about how honored I am working with the GOAT. And he is the
That's
GOAT.
amazing. Yeah.
Because I'll tell you, I've had the honor, like I said, I was in
So good.
Hollywood. I've gotten to work with some amazing people, including Clint Eastwood, who also is a GOAT, right?
Yeah.
As a director, as an actor. I mean, he
My
became a
goodness.
mentor to me. And like, how blessed do I feel that I've gotten mentored by him and now Tony. And
Wow.
the best part about them both, and I will say this and spread this message far and wide, it's not only because of their gifts as far as the talents they have and Tony with all of the tools that he shares, it's who they are as people. And the both of them are as genuine and real as you hope them to be. And I say this all the
Wow.
time. I'm impressed with nothing more than truly genuine people. And Tony, when you are speaking to him, he is listening in a complete way. He's not cutting you off. He's
Yeah.
not thinking about what he's saying. He is with you, man. And
Yeah.
I love that he's still, even in all of his greatness, Tony is still a student.
Yeah.
And I mean, there have been times he'll say to me, Renee, that's a great idea. Oh, Renee, that's great. And I'm like, ah, thanks, Tone. Like
Right.
he's
Right.
he's amazing, but that's why he just gets better and better the more he grows because he understands that people are just people and he understands that the best idea wins. It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
I'm someone who's a millionaire or I'm broke. Like none of that matters. And he's just such a beautiful soul and
Yeah.
I can't say enough great things about him. Truly working alongside of him is one of the greatest gifts of my
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, something about that made me emotional. And I think with I was gonna say the dawn of AI, but really the expansion, the acceleration of I think a big piece that I'm not hearing about, but maybe I want to take get your take on it, is this idea of human dignity. Like we're people and we have like you know what I'm saying? So I think there's a lot there where Tony and all the greats really they see you, and but more importantly they feel you and then they honor you. Right. So tell me, maybe let's wrap up with that. Like how important is it to just like pay respects to, it's kind of weird to say, right? But with AI and all this stuff, like how important is human dignity and just like genuine connections?
It's everything, everything. And this is exactly why I do what I do because I value nothing. You can give me the
Yeah.
greatest AI freaking app that can, I don't know, rewrite my whole life story. Like it could
Yeah.
have the capacity to do anything. Nothing to me is more powerful or needed or impressive than someone who can sit with you,
Mm.
let you feel so seen, let you know that you're not alone. Because we are human beings, Louise. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, human beings are meant to connect.
Yeah.
We have a heart, right? We have a soul. Yes, these
That's
and
so good.
Tony would be the first to say this. AI is so amazing. I love AI. I am not
Yeah.
against it.
No, no, no.
But I am all about it being a tool for connection, not the only tool. And when you learn how to utilize it to make certain things that you do um more clear, when you use things to make systems faster for yourself,
Yeah.
when you know how to utilize it, amazing, but
Mm.
without losing that other necessity, which is connecting in a real way.
I love that. Well, last question. So, what is the message to the world? Let's say, this was the last message you can give to the world. What is that? And yeah, what should we all remember as you share your message?
We are all human beings. We are not robots.
Yeah.
We are not AI systems.
Yeah.
So, as you're investing time in learning as you should and
Yeah.
being up on the latest with digital technology, never lose that capacity to look someone in the eye, to compliment them in a genuine way, because no matter where it is or who it is, when you allow someone to be seen and you perhaps compliment them in a sincere way,
Yeah.
you could be pulling them out of one of the darkest moments that they're having, letting them know that someone
Mm,
cares and
yeah.
letting them know that it is worth it to be here and live this life. So, again, I will reiterate,
Wow.
no matter how advanced AI gets, the one thing it can never replace is human connection.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Renee. Appreciate you.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
viewers, and
Luis.
we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Fantastic.